Okay, well, back when that is Suzerain Kingdom of Rizia, okay? So now, okay, like in the last stream, basically like, I redid the whole thing, right? Okay, so like I focused more on like the economy. So we built the hydroelectric dam and the heavy industrial park. Okay, so those are the two biggest things that changed, okay? The reason I did this is because um like we need the electricity, okay? We need the electricity. We need the economic output coming from this game. So if I'm not mistaken, we're at turn 4, okay, and then during turn 4, there's like a huge thing that happened, which is like Palace, the Grand Duchy of Palace over here. They kind of like found an oil field, right? Okay, we both know it, but it says there's a lot there, okay, and with the Grand Duchy was about to sell it to Lesbia, but we kind of like make a deal with them and bought it for like a pretty steep price, okay? And it seemed like the president, well, the leader of, well, the head of state for Palace, okay, even they know, okay, it's gonna be a big problem. Because why? Because if they hand it over to Lesbia, then like they're gonna bring in like superpowers into the they're gonna bring superpowers into the region, and like even they don't want, like, you know, to sleep like a sleeping giant here coming to our part of the region, okay? So that's what they offer. Hey, if you're willing to pay for it this much, we're willing to let it go, but we need the money, okay? So with the fact that we're trying to like make a massive palace, so we take it, okay? And hopefully that this will be the offering I was talking about before. That right, Palace is like relying a lot on Lesbia. If we're able to like provide them an offering, they'll come back and join us, okay? So, you know, it was like Palace reunification, okay? That's my plan. We don't, like, I don't know whether it's gonna go to according to plan, but that doesn't mean we shouldn't try, okay? So with that said, okay, that's what happened in previous. Okay, so let's check out what's going on. Evening conversation with Queen Mother Estella. It was the night before my trip to Kairut of the Alliance of Nations meeting. I had just finished some last-minute preparation in my study. I carefully made my way back towards the palace residential wing. It was later than I realized the halls were dead silent, illuminated only by a weak shaft of moonlight through the windows. Grand Wiseman's Ignatius quarters were on the ground floor. I saw light coming out of the keyhole. Peer in. I carefully bent down and looked inside. Sal was rocking back and forth in his armchair, his eyes closed. He seemed to be mouthing a prayer. Just before the stairs was the entrance to Vina's room. Through the door, I caught the faint strains of her voice. Rest on your ear. Oh, Mr. Blue, you got more than you expected, didn't you? No, I won't talk to him. He's in Kairut in the next few days anyway. Root? Huh? Yes, my love. We'll speak very soon. There was a clunk as she hung up the phone. I moved away from the door and kept walking. If she say my love, then it's most probably it stays on. I reached the top floor. Across the hall from my bedchamber, the Queen Mother's door was open. I looked in. My mother was smoking out on her balcony, her back turned towards me. Tap on her shoulder. You shouldn't sneak up on a old woman like that. Especially after what we've been through. All set for tomorrow? I think that what we've been through is like the Zil incident. Of course I am. The Alliance of Nations won't know what hit it. Did father tell you anything about these AN sessions? Not really. Diplomacy is on my forte. Sure, can I ask you something about Vina? About a princess? Did she get up to anything while I was in Palace? Did she told you she's been seeing someone? Did she get it to anyone in Palace? As far as I can tell, she spent a lot of time holed up in her room. Although, of course, I heard the same rumors that you have. I think that what rumors? Come, dear, do you really think one dance in celibate would be enough for those two? She flicked a bit of ash from her cigarette off the balcony. I tell you this much. The last thing you want to do is forbid her from seeing him. I'm the king, I'll order her not to see her. She'll have to obey. No, I know, I'm not that stupid. Who said anything about forbidding? I wanted to go to get together. I would never do that. She's allowed to love her. I think here, we just say, I'm not that stupid. Because remember that our, like, the definition says that whosoever Vina falls in love with, it's gonna be like a big problem. So I don't want to give, even though I like Saison, but he's still, who knows, Saison wants to play like the charming, dashing guy, but is actually like the mastermind or something. We don't wanna like, you know, don't give us an out, okay? Don't forget what happened when Lisa the Great tried to forbid your father from seeing the War of Zil. Huh? Ah, that's her. She laughed loudly. Next thing you know, she's trying all of her influence at the council to persuade them that a fisherman's daughter is a suitable match for a prince. I actually like the kid, but he doesn't seem like marriage material to me. Everything worked out in the end though, didn't it? Yeah, everything worked out in the end, didn't it? If you call seriously undermining the monarchy were working out, then yes. She cast a sidelong glance at me. Royal marriages are a balancing act, my dear. They can satisfy the betrothed or the country, but almost never both. Almost. You were lucky for a while, Romus. This particular match would satisfy your daughter very much. It also puts House Ceylon dangerously close to the throne. It's up to you whether Vina's happiness is worth that. Of course it is, mother. How could you even ask that? The Saison aren't as dangerous as you think. I'm looking to collaborate more closely with them, in fact. I don't really trust Saisons yet. I'll be fine if it was true love, but I'm worried he's using her. You said yourself, I shouldn't forbid her from seeing him. What choice do I have? I think I'll use number 3. That's the biggest thing. We're all using each other, aren't we? In fact, you could use the pairing to keep a close eye on the opposition, assuming Vina trusts you enough to pass along information about her paramour family. No, she's my daughter, not a spy. She's my daughter, not a spy. Or there's one more other thing you could do. You send the princess on a nice, relaxing trip abroad. Nothing cures love sickness like a change of scenery. A diplomatic mission, perhaps? Distract Vina and improve our international standing in one go. She's been crapping my star on the council, it's true. I can't do that. She's a valuable member of my club. Not really. I'm not ready to let her go. Maybe we just say a diplomatic mission. And if she meets some dashing foreign prince over there, consider it a bonus. Speaking of foreign affair, are you positive you don't want to talk about tomorrow's meeting? I just want to make sure you're prepared to address the elephant in the chamber. Of course I am. Of course I am. Weller must be forced to honor the Hazil handover deadline. That's a pachyderm question, yes. We need our land back no matter what kind of announcement Victor Smolak has up in his sleeve. Enough is enough, he will pay for your disrespect. I don't want a confrontation, our countries are on the same side. Nope. How do you know he's gonna make an announcement? My whisper networks aren't what they used to be, but why still talk? Any advice on how to act? I say don't stoop to his level. Make him look like the tyrant he is. That's what I was planning to. Isolate him. That's the point of like we making the deal with Beatrice. But I don't know why, like on our first playthrough, right, we were able to like have the choice of like cutting him off completely. But for us right now, we're not able to do that. We're like only able to like cut off like 50%. Speaking of which, how is your lady friend proceeding with her investigation? How did she know? These things take a while, you know. I do hope investigators turn up something we can use. I shudder to think what might happen if the handover deadline arrives before the culprit is found. If this doesn't work, we will try something else, but Zil will be ours. Thank you for your concern, but I have it all under control. Mother, could you perhaps envision minding your own damn business? You know, I do think like Estella, though she's crass at it is, she means good. Okay, we're gonna answer number 1. Yes, I know. Excuse my impatience. She stubbed her cigarette out on out on the balcony railing and sighed. Well, it's about time I got some rest. Me too. I hope Pavel iron your pillowcase. You can't go dressing the AN with creases on your face. Don't worry about Zil. I promise I'm doing everything I can. Wish me luck tomorrow. Thank you for all your advice. Thank you for all your advice. What's the mother for? I wish her a good night and left the room. I heard her light click off. I returned to my quarters to see Titus take his post outside my door. I wonder how long he's been shadowing me for. In my room, Pavel had already packed my suitcase and turned the bed down. I climbed into bed, but was too distracted by thoughts of the days ahead to sleep. Okay. Can I sell off some? Oh, I don't have anything. You know, if anything, I'll go for this. Housing for the Poor initiative. We can't go for this Callous gold mine, okay? Cool. Fort Alias, expand Terrador Air Force Base. Build support vehicle. Ooh, we can do this. Recognize the ever-present aspiration. But nobody agrees with it though. Look at it. Like it's either neutral or they disapprove. I think next turn, because next turn we need to like go a bit on welfare, right? Okay. We need to pass increase health and education funding. This is something that we need to do because we promise. I think we have to go. We'll go for this one, but let's just keep it, okay? And see what we can do with it. Okay. What now? What now? Kingdom increases share in RRG. Okay. King overturns House of Delegates majority, passes safety laws. Hegel tightens Gomland trade. Okay. Wait, where do we need to go? Here. Request for cooperation from Wachlan. Wachlan intelligence forces have asked for our full cooperation in their investigation of the Zale bombing. This means that Rizzian security will be obliged to share any information they have found and vice versa. Ooh, damn. If it's vice versa, then we go for it. I think. What do we have? Average rent doubling every 18 months. Oh my god. Yeah, I need to go for that. Wachler thanks us for cooperation. Morella sends congratulations for taking control of natural resources. Golcondes pilgrims squat Plavo Sanctuary. A group of Dirdian Golcondes pilgrims suspected to have entered the country via Morellan border have taken up residence unlawfully in the revered Plato Ark Sanctuary. The monarchy now faces the choice of extradite these pilgrims to Dirdia or Morella, or provide them with a combination ensuring their safety and upholding Golcondes religious sentiment. They're Dirtians, right? Golconda Squad Plavo Arc Sanctuary. This is why like I'm not sure. I think we had like the marking of his extradited program because they have been like desecrating the area. You will send them back to Dirtia, but they are from Dirtia. Oh, they're gonna hate me for that. Fighting broke out as police cleared Plavo Sanctuary of Golconda's worshippers that occupied it. While the riot didn't last long, minor damage was inflicted on the sanctuary and several police officers were injured. Dirtia officially condemns our country's decision to deport Golconda's pilgrim occupying Plavo Sanctuary to their country, calling an unprecedented attack on religious rights. Flash, okay. Assembly of Nations South of Merkopa session. It was a rainy day in Kairut, one of only a handful of the island experienced per year. The sound of the falling drops of Alliance of Nations though made for an unexpectedly soothing backdrop to what I could tell what was going to be a tense session. I sat with Lorento and the rest of the Rizian delegation in the half-full assembly hall. Today's session was focused on the South Merkopa only. Looking around the room, I could see the representatives and leaders from Wackland, Morella, Dirtia, and Lesbia. I should not have deported him so soon. I should do it after. It must be awkward encountering one's ex-husband here. Oh, Duke Axel Reinhardt entered late, accompanied by a few of his ministers. He took a seat as far as the lesbian delegation as possible. Huh? Who's he married to? Who's he married to? Who's he married to? Oh, okay. They're talking about Lesbia and Alice, okay? Because we kind of like broke that, okay? We kind of like they're supposed to sell the oil to Lesbia, right? We kind of like stepped in, okay, and ruined that for them. So I think we shouldn't be mean to them, okay? Like we should actually like welcome Palace. I wonder how badly the two of them fell out. Wave to him. I think we should wave to him. I waved to Luke Reinhardt. He nodded tersely in acknowledgement. He seemed nervous. Alvarez's presence here is flattering him, I think. Are you well, Your Majesty? Your father always had a case of nerves before these sessions. I'm not surprised. One more royal duty that he could not handle. If Acacia or United Quintana were here today, I'll be nervous. All these others are small potatoes. I'm fine, Mr. Escabel. I appreciate your concern. My mother said something about Victor Smollett making an announcement. I heard similar rumors, but nothing is substantiated. We turned our attention to the front of the room as President Nines called the meeting to order. This was a special session, so the opening remarks were kept short. Before I knew it, it was time for the individual leaders of South Merkopa to present their speeches. Prime Minister Alma Santana strode up to the podium. She had to lower the microphone to reach it. Big trouble in a small package. She's Morella. Let's see what she has to say before passing judgment. The Morella leader greeted the assembly. Her voice had a melodic lilt to it that I associate with Kenal. Kenal? It's a really good one. Oh, being the only Kinal is unique for being the only Zenan member of the ATO. ATO, isn't that the, you know, the superpower that Lesbia belongs to? Mr. President, esteemed leaders, and distinguished guests, it is my honor to speak in these hallowed halls for the first time. I come before you as a representative of New Morella, a country committed to breaking free from the shackles of our repressive past. A country that is now truly aligned with the AN values of justice, solidarity, and human dignity, and one that is proud to build bridges with those who share our vision and of a more equal society. She nodded towards the upper seats of the assembly room. I looked behind me to see the Volkslandian Chancellor Emmerich Hegel applauding furiously. More than one male is in the same room is bound to spell trouble. Laurento, I thought this was a South Merkopa session. Who invited him? Who invited him? Prime Minister Sultana must have wanted him in the audience to demonstrate Volksland's support for her country. It is a time for transition for Morella, but as we redefine our principles and our partnership, one fact becomes abundantly clear. We can no longer abide the senseless exploitation of our land, people, and resources. Aha, I know this would be about the international trade zone. Gold makes plenty of sense to me. Hegel put this into her head, I'm sure of it. I think I should just say this is about the international trade zone. She hasn't taken her eyes off the topic since her election. For too long, our so-called partners in the Maftium International Trade Zone have dug the ground. The Maftium International Trade Zone have dug the ground out from under us. We've allowed them to ravage our soil and abuse our workers while reaping more than their fair share of profits. They send security forces to guard their goal, yet leave the rest of Morella and to the mercy of Durian terrorists. Meanwhile, the shocking lack of mining regulation in countries such as Rizia show that they are no less careless at home than abroad. I knew I shouldn't give given to Rusty. It's not our fault Morenso is to cave-ins. Why is she naming us? What about the corruption in the lesbian industry? Morella international profile isn't large enough to go after a country of lesbian stature yet. Morella calls on the Alliance of Nations to recognize our human rights struggle. And to accept that is the Maftium ITZ is to continue. Any wealth it generates must be reinvested in the Morellan people. Bravo, Madam Prime Minister. Chancellor Hegel was standing now. The other AN guests turned their heads in his direction. Please tell me that he's gonna take a slipper and like bang on the table again. As fellow stewards of the international trade zone and fellow soldiers in the fight against imperialism, the nation of Volksland supports Morella in its journey. He must have cut a fat deal of her. Can't she see that he's using her? It's difficult to tell who's using whom. Hegel sat back down. Nice motion for Prime Minister Sultana to continue. I thank you, all of you, for your attention today and look forward to forging a brighter future for the people of South Merkopa. All of them. Laurento turned to me as Morellan Prime Minister wrapped up her speech and returned to her seat. It seems trade zone is going to be more of a sticking point than I thought. Nothing's going to be decided today anyway. It's all just talk. I don't care what it takes, we're keeping our goal. I just hope she doesn't expect me to deal with Dirty on her behalf. Speaking of which, Supreme Wiseman Yorga Azmal stepped on the stage, dressed in ceremonial robe with silver trim. I want to see him. Okay. There are Nuris, we are Ruhisis. Before speaking, he waved his hand in the air 6 times, representing the 6th pillar of Golkondism. I'm surprised he flew out here. Duria's Supreme Wiseman normally refrains from speaking in public. He's too busy praying in a cave. Whatever he has to say must be important. I admit I'm very curious. The Supreme Wiseman spoke in a deep baritone. Dear great and powerful leaders of South Merkopa, in the name of the Prophet Ruhak, I salute you all. I'm humble enough to know that we We men alone cannot decide the fate of a continent, not without God's guidance. And it is God who has guided me here today. Oh no, is it about me deporting them? Is it about me deporting them? Please don't tell me this, Dad. We are one of the few nations brave enough to let themselves be ruled by his law, but we are also a country like any other. Yet our attempts to find common ground for our neighbors have been ruffled over and over solely on account of our beliefs. I look over at where Alma Sultana was sitting. She was openly scowling. The Prime Minister of Morella accused us of violating her borders, yet it was not so long ago that we were one country. Because of arbitrary lines that have been drawn, my people can no longer visit the grave of their ancestor or the shrine where they once worshipped. Every single one of us, I think it's every single one of us, Dirdia, Morella, Rizia, Wecklin, we all have different views, yet we are all united by the divine path of Saint Ruhak. It is my humble request that we Dirdians be able to follow the path as we have for centuries. It sounds reasonable enough. He's forgetting the part where Dirdians take part in violent insurgencies. Yes, this is the problem. Like, if the Dirdians, the Golcondes, they are not like violent, I wouldn't mind letting them in, you know. And the fact that before this, they actually like, you know, desecrated one of the religious places. That's what made me think twice. And after like we reported them back, like there's a clash. Kind of show like they're like quite violent. He's far from the servant of peace that he makes himself out to be. On that note, concerns have been raised about the missile testing my country have been conducting. Our aim has only ever been to protect our people and our way of life. Wait, does your Dirdian Golcondes believes in missiles? What? Like, I know we make fun of like Jesus, you know, with an AR-15 on top of a dinosaur, but is this guy trying to like put his prophet on a missile and like, you know, portray it as that? Like, how can you talk about religious and then talk about missile testing the next line? Seriously. It is God's will that we use this technology not for evil, but to contribute to global security and stability. Alma Santana started laughing. God wants missile? That's priceless. That isn't funny, it's scary. Yeah. What scary is if he finds the wrong buyer for this technology. Azman put his hands on the podium. How far we have fallen, that the only country in South Merkopa where the pillars of liberty still stand tall is treated as a laughingstock. Have you heard yourself? You all speak of superpowers, but I know there is only one superpower we need to worry about. He pointed upwards. The sooner our nations come together under him, the sooner true peace and prosperity can be realized. Then throw away your missiles then. Supreme Wiseman Azma made the pillar sign again as he exited the stage. The chandelier is a superpower? Lorenzo held back a laugh. Oh, but now it's time for the real heavy artillery. Oh God. Oh. He gestured to an aide to begin taking notes as President Nines announced Victor Smolak. Give me a second, let me drink some water. This is definitely gonna stress me out. There was some whisper from within the room as Wackland's president stepped up to the podium. He continued them with a theatrical slushing motion, then continued. Dear fellow leaders, I wish I could say I was happy to be here, standing as one of the 6 proud nations of South Merkopa, and yet I feel only sorrow. Sorrow that our magnificent region has let itself been torn apart by forces greater than ourselves. I speak, of course, Acacia and Rumberg, conveniently leaving out United Contana. Wagner alienates every country around it, then blames the superpowers? What nerve? He isn't wrong. Our countries could all be allies if we rid ourselves of foreign interference. Nah, it's number 2. Especially since he himself has well-documented ties to United Contana. Convinced of the idea that might makes right, there's the guy that have tons of military equipment. They sow discord among us in order to strengthen ourselves. And Wagland, poor war-torn Wagland, the war that you started, must pay the highest price. Who among you can deny ATO's involvement in the Wagland Civil War? Or Rumberg shipping arms to the Bluish Separatist movement? Nobody in the hall said a word. Victor looked up at me directly. It is to my everlasting regret that when Wagland was at its weakest, our direct neighbors opted for alliance with a nation that has sought to harm us at every turn. I do not blame the great Kingdom of Rizia for its decision, but neither I can ignore that for the past 20 years, Rumberg has maintained a presence to both our north and south. In light of that, the Rizian government failure to denounce the perpetrators of the Zil bombing, the most heinous terrorist attack to occur in Wagland since the Civil War, concerns me greatly. Especially since the government agency investigating the incident seem more interested in pinning the blame on Wagland than uncovering the truth. I am cooperating with you. Why the heck are you blaming me? What is to stop such violence from reoccurring? What will happen to the Wazak who have made Zil their home once Rizia, and by proxy, Rumberg regains control of the region? I'm a man who respects the rule of law. Yet I cannot put my country people at risk by abandoning the territory while the questions still hang in the air. Here it comes. This is why I have decided to invoke the AN Threat Mitigation Protocol for the treaty obligations to delay the return of Zil until that risk is neutralized. Gas and murmurs rippled through the assembly. I felt many pair of eyes on me. Now, remember what Mother and I said, discussed. Basically, we say, make him out as a dictator, as the tyrant he is. Palm your fist on the table in front of you. Stay silent. Stay silent. This is unprecedented, Your Majesty. No nation has invoked this protocol since the signing of the AN Charter nearly a century ago. The murmurs in the room were growing louder. President Nines banging a gavel for silence. If I may continue. It is not my intention to keep the custody of Zil region forever. The sooner the safety and security were restored, the sooner we may begin preparing for an orderly transition. Dude, it happened under your watch. Okay? It happened under your watch. It happened under your rule. Don't pretend like this is not don't pretend like it's all under us. I hope for swift cooperation from His Majesty King Romus and my fellow South Merkopa nations. Together, we are strong. He raised his arm in expectation of applause. None came. None of our neighbors is openly taking Wagland's side. That bodes well for us. Victor shook his head and left the stage. Applaud politely. I'll get in touch with Wagland's foreign minister as soon as we are back home. There may be a way to straighten things out. Let's see if Prime Minister Alvarez had any word on the subject. Yeah, this is a problem because we cut a deal with Palace, so he's probably not too happy with us. Mr. President, may I just start by voicing my heartfelt support for this fine organization and the role that it plays. Were it not for the Alliance of Nations, there would be no way to stop our country's petty quarrels from devouring the world, which, ladies and gentlemen, is precisely what's in danger of happening today. I speak, of course, of the conspiracy to nationalize the Mephium International Trade Zone. Chancellor Hagel stood up again. Alvarez ignored him. Let us not for 1 second believe that Morella is acting on its own accord. The long arm of the Contana Security Pact is behind this. By giving in to Prime Minister Sultana's demand, the nations of Lesbia and Rizia would be effectively paying to increase United Contana's sphere of influence. I know I am not alone in wanting to avoid those disastrous consequences. He looked around the room. By giving in to Prime Minister Sultana's demands, the nation of Lesbia and Rizia will effectively... I do not want any powers, you know? I do not want any superpower in our region, so I'm gonna applaud. I applauded from my seat. Lorento joined me. I'll remind Morello and Voxden that the Alliance of Nations is watching, as is ADO. Any attempt to seize the international trade zone by unlawful means will be met with retaliation. That will be all. Nothing about Wacklin? It is not in Lesbia's interest to take sides on Lille, for now. Looks like Palace is next. Duke Reinhardt stepped up to the podium. With the spotlight on the Elysian leader, I could see that he had stubble on his chin and dark circles under his eyes. Well, he looks like shit. Poor Axel, he must be a bundle of nerves. It's his first AN address, and he is quite inexperienced. Duke Reinhardt cleared his throat and shuffled a few papers around. Ahem. As the leader of the youngest nation in southern Merkopa, I'm humbled to be in this great hall. I'm fully aware that everyone else in this room has spent their lives preparing to be in power. Whereas me, let's just say calling me a dilettante would be generous. I heard laughter from around the hall. Okay, laugh yourself. Lorento adjusted to where Prime Minister Alvarez was sitting. The lesbian leader wasn't smiling. But just because I'm inexperienced, that doesn't mean I'm naive. Since the fall of Valgos Empire, Palace has been battled out by nations much more powerful than itself. The Grand Duchy may be small, but it's not a plaything. Look at the art, literature, throughout that has come out in Palace in the last 30 years. Look at our technological innovation. He glanced up at me. Our new energy partner is Rizia. It's a signal of Palace entrance onto a greater global stage. Yeah, it seems like even he wants that off-ramp, you know, like I was talking, like off-ramp and join back to us, okay, and leaving off Lesbia. Patricio Alvarez was silently stewing in his seat. King Romus and I represent a new kind of monarchy, one that is young, flexible, and in line with modern values. And I invite my other colleague in this esteemed organization to engage with us as equals, irrespective of the way we have been treated in the past. Furthermore, Criminal! Duke Reinhardt looked shaken by the interjection. Well, I was saying we Parisians. No, I cannot stay silent while you make your entitled demands. Your family used Palace as a building, as a base to pillage the Xenon continent. Everything you had, you stole from someone else. And rather than give it back when the revolution forced your hand, you begged the capitalist swine of Lesbia to help you hold on to your ill-gotten gains. I beg your pardon, Chancellor Hegel, but I am not responsible for my family's sins. But you're happy to profit from them, aren't you? Up there in the glass castle, I'll tell you, Duke Reinhardt, the cracks are beginning to show. Damn, Duke Reinhardt just got haggle! What the heck? You cannot talk to a duke this way, Chancellor Hegel. Be silent. Hegel frowned at me. You are equally culpable, Your Majesty. The days of both of your monarchies are numbered. After a short back and forth, President Nines issued the Chancellor a stern warning. He glared out from his seat as Duke Reinhardt finished his speech. He tapped on the mic nervously. I see the Chancellor is still resentful that the people of Palace chose the firm leadership of the Reinhardt family over the chaos of revolution. Yes, the Grand Duchy aided in the colonialist aims of the Valgos Empire. But like Volksland, we are ready to put the past behind us and look towards the future. We simply have a different vision. Palace may not yet have truly earned its spots in this assembly, but it is my hope that it will. His voice had regained its full confidence now, and any nation that attempts to stop us from doing so will be met with a strong and resolute response. He rushed back to his seat as chatter erupted from the rest of the assembly. It's certainly been an eventful session, Your Majesty. I hope you're ready for your speech. Not in the slightest, but I'll improvise. I took a deep breath as President Nice announced my name. Laurento gave me a quick smile of encouragement as I left my seat. Remember, our aim here is to get back Zil, okay? So we need to address the Wekland and Smolak. Dear esteemed fellow members of the Alliance of Nations, I think this is the best way. Like we are not like, you know, talking about monarchies. We're just talking about us as part of the members of Alliance of Nations. It is an immense honor to be addressing this assembly for the first time. Don't talk about monarch. You've heard enough today about how important the Alliance of Nations is, so I'll get straight to the point. Okay, let me just say it's an immense honor. As we have seen over and over throughout history, our nation can accomplish much more together than what we can apart. The Aeon's unwavering commitment to peace and justice in times of tension is the true inspiration. The Aeon's swift interference has stopped many would-be evildoers in their track. I think we'll go for number 2. Which is why I'm saddened by the division plaguing South Merkopa, which is why I'm appealing to you all today. Which is why I'm appealing to you all today. I'm aware that comments made by President Smolak earlier in this session demand a response from me. I hope you all see that Wekland's failure to return Zil for what it is, a flagrant violation of international law. The AN threat mitigation program can only be invoked under extreme circumstances, in my opinion. The Zil incident is not one of them. The invocation of the AN protocol was completely understandable. The transition of Zil cannot happen until and unless security is restored to the region. No. However, I do not believe that this is the appropriate forum. I invite President of Wekland to expand on his security concern in a private dialogue with me. No. Yeah, I think I'll say this. This is the best. I hope you all see that Wekland's failure to return Zil for what it is a flagrant violation of international law. Okay? This one is like a weaker response to this. Okay? Number 3 is like we are agreeing with him, which we don't want to do. Number 4, private dialogue, then like he's gonna like steamroll us because he's at the higher position. So we have to like diplomacy among the nations. Any intelligent person can see that the concerns of the security of the concerns about security and Romberg. This was purely self-serving decision. Nope. The bombing was a tragedy. However, my kingdom has taken necessary steps to ensure it will not be repeated. Yeah, I would like to give him the benefit of the doubt. Number 2. Wekland's willingness to disregard the terms of legal documents has chilling implications for its relationship with the rest of the continent. President Smolak pointed his fingers at Romberg, yet has failed to mention the financial backing of his own country has received from United Contana. Okay, this is hard. Wekland's willingness to disregard. Like, right now, where we are is also important, okay? We're not addressing to the people. We're addressing to the, Alliance of Nations, okay? Like, number 1 is not my first choice. But considering where we are, I think number 1 is the most, smartest choice, okay? And number 2 is not bad as well, okay? But here we're talking about Zil. We're not talking about number 2 is more like Wekland's financial standings. We're not focusing on that. Number 3, the people of Zil yearn for their home. Who is Wekland to deny it to them? That is also true. If this one is like we're talking to people, I'll give it to this. I'll say this. So I think number 1 is the best. So I'll ask you, who will join us in holding President Smolak accountable? We're not fighting for a sliver of Rizia. We're not fighting for a sliver of Rizia. We are fighting for the future of South Merkopa. If President Smolak does not honor the term of agreement, we will be forced to take matters into our own hands. So I ask you, who will join us in holding President Smolak accountable? This one here is like putting pressure democratically. Number three is like we might go to war. So, you know, Prime Minister Sultana, in light of the human rights violation of Westland committed, Mora surely cannot stay silent. Supreme Wiseman of Asma, Western occupation of Zil represent invasion of dishonesty into the land of Saint Ruhag. Dirdia must not condone it. I do not ask for your commitment at this time, only that you will support Rizia when the moment arrives. Duke Reinhardt, given the result of our last meeting, I would expect you to align Rizia on this vital issue. I do not ask for a commitment at this time. Ooh. I think number 4, like just now we did help Duke Reinhardt, right, when he was nervous with his speech. I think that is like symbolic enough, and with our deal with Palace, he's already on our side. We need more people, okay? So, like this one, Dirdia, I think like because we send the people back, it's kind of like a slap in the face to them. So I don't think they'll be swayed by this. While for Prime Minister Sultana, the fact that we didn't pass like the Worker Protection Act for the miners, we do have like for the other industries, right? So I think this one, it's like it's a 50-50. With this we address her, like hopefully she would see from this perspective, okay? And that perspective is like, yeah, we're not that good in like the miners, right? But in other aspects we are way better than Wackland. For me, like the answer would be like either 1 or 3. Pressure Prime Minister Sultana, or like, ask for their commitment. But I think Dude Reinhardt is already with us. We need like another push. So maybe we'll push Prime Minister Sultana for it. Alma Sultana applauds somewhat hesitantly. I call on the rest of you to choose a side. History may write on this outcome. Okay, moving on. I cannot ignore the presence of Chancellor Hegel and his newfound interest of our neighbor. Okay, I just shoot myself on the foot. The reason why I say that is because I just talked to... Why? I cannot ignore the presence of Chancellor Hegel and his newfound interest in our neighbor Morella. I saw Hegel lean forward in his seat intently. I may not share Morella's worldview, yet I believe our citizen struggles are one and the same. Given on the ongoing exploitation happening in Morella, I'm not surprised that Prime Minister Sultana has looked to the east for assistance. Rizia and Morella have maintained good relations for centuries. It pains to see a noble country fall victim to violence influence. The specter of encroaching socialism does not scare me as much as the potential loss of precious resources. I think number 1 is the most safe. I may not share Morella's worldview, but I believe our citizen struggles are one and the same. The pillaging of the MITZ must stop. On that, we are in agreement. As our Morella's long-time allies, we are prepared to offer what assistance we can in building a more equitable midst. However, I do not believe Morella need to resort to such an extreme measure of nationalization. I think like if we just say this and not telling us what we want to do to help, it kind of like cheapens our talk. So here we're talking about, okay, what we're willing to give up. Prime Minister Sultana began applauding. Hegel looked pleasantly surprised. If Rizia must make sacrifices so that Morella may prosper, so be it. I'm not opposed to reopening trade zone negotiation as long as Rizia continues to be able to provide for its citizens. Prime Minister Alvarez and Latvian delegation were speaking in worried whispers. President Nines again gestured for silence, then motioned for me to continue. Having said that, I urge Morella to rethink its stance towards the Derdian Golcondas programs. I also stand with Morella against the Derdian extremists who seek to infiltrate their borders. In the same spirit of cooperation, I believe a compromise can be reached regarding Derdia's religious travelers. Yeah, I think number 2. Like, maybe number 1. It's the least antagonizing towards Derdia. It is the 1950s, and the freedom of religion should be given in modern Merkopa. And it kind of sounds hollow because we did deport the people. After all, we shouldn't say that. We shouldn't say that it's more dangerous than Malayavism. The division of the former empire of Moravia has pitted brother and against brother. The violence must end. Scattered applause come from around the assembly hall. Finally, a word regarding Palace. Like Duke Reinhardt, I believe our nation's burgeoning partnership represents the dawning of a new golden age. I too believe this young nation deserves a place among the international community. My relationship with the Grand Duchy is purely a business partnership for now. I think number 1 is the best. Like, we're lifting Palace up. Both of our families have made it through the bloody revolution because it was the people's will. We both wish a cycle started by our predecessors. Yes, I think this is it. We both wish to end a cycle of violence started by our predecessors because, like, I want Palace to join back with us, okay? Certain nations have tried to turn us against each other for their own benefits. No more. We have not forgotten our country's past animosity. We are glad to look to the future together. Some of you may doubt that enlightened monarchies can exist in the modern age. We will prove you wrong. Do I talk about monarchies? That's a question. I think number 1 or 3. Because number 2 is like... Number 2, it's... How should I say this? We want to work together, but we still hold grudges. I don't want that. Yeah, but this one we kind of like... We're gonna agitate like Lesbia and ATO. It's either 1 or 3, but right now after I think about that, maybe number 3 is the best. Some of you may doubt that enlightened monarchies can exist in the modern age. We will prove you wrong. Regarding the remarks of Chancellor Hager, as for the prior remarks made by Chancellor of Wagland, regarding the remarks by Chancellor Hegel, just because Vaxlandia revolution failed in Palace does not legitimize it as a country. There is no need to punish Duke Reinhardt for his ancestors' crime. I agree that Palace, the Legion royal family has not adequately made amends for its past. With Rizia's guidance, perhaps. This sounds a bit too, like, we're putting a lot of blame on Palace. Maybe just because of this. Just because Vaxlandia revolution failed in Palace does not legitimize it as a country. Duke Reinhardt and his delegation broke into enthusiastic applause. Hegel looked displeased. President Nines motioned to the clock. My speech has gone over its runtime. I'll conclude with these words. President Smollett was wrong. It is not the superpowers who are tearing us apart. We are doing it to ourselves. For too long, we have let the superpowers wield their influence over us. Times have changed. I am aware that Rizia stands nearly alone as kingdom in a sea of republics. Like, the ending, we are doing it to ourselves. That's the line that I don't like. But then it's like more of this is like talk about superpowers. But like I say, our main goal to come at the AN here is to basically like to get back to Zil, okay? So I think we have to like push a bit on small lag here. But I hope that we might find our way back to each other. But Rizia and our partners in Grace are prepared to demonstrate that the monarchy still has significance in this modern world. That's like a bit agitating them. Okay, I think I screwed up that one. I should not have chosen this. Our proud nation will not succumb to foreign pressure. But I hope that we might find our way back to each other. Glorious Rizia. I sat down and 8 handed me a glass of water. Well done, Your Majesty. It'll take a while to digest the ramification. Let's update it all once we are back in Rizia. Finding back out the assembly hall, I noticed the sound of the rain on the dome has stopped. Another sunny day in Constantium. Just the last part I feel like I screwed up. Just the last part. We have new royal decrees. Is it? I think I might want to make the coal mine. I might. I don't think we should do this though, because like the reason why is because like we are bringing Palace closer to us, so we don't need to worry about an attack from them. I think, especially like from our speech just now. Romus the Red Wine launch event. In the fertile field of Calais, the Cantuavo vineyards were among the oldest in Rizia. They were run by a revered winemaking family now in their 5th generation, who had long ago been awarded noble status for the fine wines they provided to the kingdom. Tonight, they had invited my family and council over the ceremonial uncorking of the latest vintage Romus the Red, bottled on my coronation day. It was now ready for drinking. I wish I was more in a celebratory mood. Wackland's announcement to the AN had plunged the country into panic. I was besieged by demands to take action to get Zil back. As gas tankers were venturing from Monkey's Port Raison and Fort Alice and to Rumbert to fulfill our natural gas export every single day. Oh yeah, did I make the port yet? Like the improvement to the port? For now, all I have to do was open a wine bottle, but even that was politicized. Hugo had stressed the importance of keeping the Cantuavo family loyal to our house. Our motorcade rolled up to the vineyard entrance, where a festival tent decorated in blue, white, and gold of the Rizian flag had been set up. After a thorough security sweep, my mother, Estella, Vena, Hugo, and I proceeded to our table. Pavel smoothly approached and poured us glasses of sparkling water. I had the pleasure of supervising the pre-chasing with the vineyard staff. I must say, the family has truly outdone themselves this time. How splendid, I can't wait. I honestly think you love it. It's light on the palate at first, but it has hidden depths. That sounds perfect, Mr. Adria, but please stick to conservative pours for His Majesty. It's unbecoming of a king to get intoxicated at these functions. Lucida, Elena, and Lorento walked past us and were seated at the table next to ours. All three were dressed more festively than the simple formal wear they wore to council meetings, but Lucida's slinky, intricately beaded yellow gown was particularly eye-catching. My mother turned to me and muttered under her breath, "Oh my, the mountains of Monteclair are on full display tonight." And how? Honestly, mother, I'll have you kicked out if you insist on demeaning my council like that. You're just jealous that for once someone else's outfit is better than yours. Mountains, what are you talking about? Mountains, what are you talking about? Vina rolled her eyes and ran a finger along the rims of her glass. I still don't understand what we are doing here, especially with all that's been going on. You know, I did notice one thing, that it's getting redder, you know, here. Politics, Your Highness. In case our foreign situation escalates, we require the support of House Toras and our home province more than ever. I know they are not happy about my dealings with Swordland. Vina has a point. President Smolak and I haven't exchanged a word since Zil. Shouldn't I make it my priority to talk to him? Yes, we must keep attending functions as usual. As the royal family, we got the spirit of Rizia to uphold. I think this is the most, like, least consequential. Precisely, Your Majesty. In this case, it's especially important for our wealthiest citizens to be reassured that their assets will remain stable. The rest of the attendees begins filing in. It was a small elite crowd comprising of Baron and Baroness, Viscounts and CEOs from around the region. They bowed as they passed my table, but some of their smiles seemed ungenuine. I thought I heard someone whisper sword lover. Estella flashed me a look of warning. There's no pleasing these people, darling. Better to ignore them. After everyone had settled in, the head of the wine gave a short opening greeting, then welcomed me onto the stage. I stepped behind the microphone, a magnum-sized bottle of Romus the Red on the table behind me. I think here we need to say, great citizens of Valankris. We have gathered here to celebrate the fruits of this land, our land. I'm honored to lend my name to this exceptional creation, produced by the best mind makers in the country. No, the world. Together we raise our glasses to our fine province, the foundation upon which this kingdom stands. Now, this is basically, you know, when we have to like give a pep talk to everybody, right? We need to raise their spirits a bit. So it's okay to like to be a little bit outlandish here when speaking. Number 1 or number 2? Number 2, it's like at first it seemed like it's very like arrogant because we're talking about ourselves. But at the end, like, produced by the best winemakers in the country. No, the world. But this one's only for the winemakers though. It's either 1 or 2. This one is like targeting the winemakers. This one is targeting, you know, to the nobles. I think I'll go for number 1. The wines of this vineyard has always delighted our palates in times of joy and calmed our nerves in times of sorrow. The wine will only grow better over time. No, if we say this, then like we're not respecting traditions. This one will inspire reverence for the venerable House Toras. I think House Toras is like good to have support from that, but I think like we should go with number 1. It's the least consequential. I've listened to my people. I know some of you have doubts on our kingdom's stability. I'm heartened that so many of you have come here to celebrate tonight, especially in the wake of recent events. Yet there are those who seek to weaken our ancient monarchy to claim riches for their own. Number 3 is out. Is that number 1 or number 2? I think number 2 is the best. Change is coming to Rizia, but that need not be a bad thing. It's not a good thing to say here. Now, more than ever, we must defend our traditions and our way of life. We're not actually like staying to traditions though. I'm confident that with your help, Rizia will become stronger than ever. This sounds a bit too religious. So number 3. As the most privileged province in Rizia, Valankris has a duty to lead the way forward. Yeah, this one's like praising Valankris. You must not forget that Valankris is not an island. I am proud son of Valankris and assure you that my home province will always come first for me. Yeah, I think number 1 is like to show us that we are the leaders. but not antagonize the other houses. We should not be scared to look outward to rekindle our international friendships. Maybe we should not hesitate to look to our fellow royal houses for support. No longer can we ignore the plight of those less fortunate than us. Nothing matters to me more than your continued loyalty. Have faith in your king and in the House Toras, and you'll be richly rewarded. To me, like, every single one have its purpose. But I think, like, since we're speaking to like a bunch of baron and baroness, right? So number 3 is something that we should not say in this audience. The problem with number 4 is that I'm not like trying to like reward cronyism, okay? So number 4 is kind of out for me personally. But I do understand why people would choose number 4, because we are like trying to like rally up for the name of the House Toras. Like number 2, I think like we shouldn't answer that, because one is that I'm still harboring like doubts on the House Sazon, and like even though like right now I'm trying to like court Lucida from the House Azaro, but I do think like this one here is like we're sidelining Sazon, but we are fostering like we're trying to foster a bond between Azaro and us. I'm not really that sure. So thinking of everything, it's either 1 or 4. But like I say, I'm not ideologically aligned with number 4, so I'll go with number 1. Our brothers and sisters Morana, for example, like that of which my grandmother formed with the Kingdom of Swordland. The support of Romberg and our fellow... Okay, they'll prefer this one for sure. This one, they prefer the grace. There was a round of polite applauses. I couldn't tell what my audience was thinking. There was a round of polite applause. I know one thing for certain. By this time next year, we'll be raising a glass of Romus the Red to a reunited Rizia. I promise that if we open ourselves to new alliances, untold prosperity will be our reward. With Valentris by my side, Rizia will be whole again. Like I say, this one is for to rally up the House Toras. But ideologically, I'm going for number 2. Okay, I promise that if we open ourselves to new alliances, untold prosperity will be our reward. The attendees applauded slightly more loudly. But you're not here to listen to me, you're here to drink wine. Read the room. For now, we will bear witness to the miracles that the Torpor family have worked with the humble Greek. I think this one will applaud the Torpor family. I heard cheers as a representative of the winery handed me a ceremonial corkscrew and glass. As a symbol of unity, Duchess Lucida of House Azaro will uncork the first bottle. I don't think I should go for this. Because although I'm trying to court her, I need to show that I'm still the man in charge. I think here we have to uncork the wine. I pour myself a small amount and turn to face the crowd. Glorious Aksa Rizia. Drink. I raised my glass towards the audience and drank. It was delicious. A light, refreshing taste gradually developed into a darker and more complex finish. There was a final round of applause as I stepped off the stage. Pavel and the winery staff began circulating around the tables with wine and food. Hugo intercepted me before I could sit down. That was interesting. I have to do the rounds to appease the audience members who were unconvinced. The other royal family, they should be appeasing us. No. I didn't think it went too badly. You must admit that our Valankris constituents were less than impressed. But relax, Your Majesty, I have a handle on it. Like, the thing is, like, I have no problem with... Well, I don't have much problem with Hugo. But we're still not sure whether, like, if he's clear whether... whether... To me, like, he's still one of the suspects for poisoning King Valero, okay? That's something I'm not sure yet, okay? So, Hugo, I'm still on the fence on him, okay? But for like his abilities to like rally the flag around the house, around the royal family, I think he did a pretty good job. Another problem that I have with him is his son. Okay? Like, he's trying to push his son, but the son is really not up to snuff, okay? The son is basically like I wouldn't say he's a tyrant. He's like an insecure guy who found power through his, he found confidence through his power, and he's abusing his power. So that's why I don't like his son. That's why I don't want to get close to him, for those two reasons. He walked out to speak to the cantorvers. I sat down for a brief sip from my glass before heading into the fray. I spent a good several hours mingling with the relatives and fellow nobles, posing for photographs with the winemakers and fending off journalists. Every time I attempted to sit down and eat, I was deluged with more requests. My glass, on the other hand, was constantly being refilled. By the end of the evening, I was having some trouble keeping names and faces straight. The tent gradually emptied out as the guests departed. The winery had an attached luxury villa where our delegation had been invited to stay for the night. Hugo, Estella, Vina, and I began saying our final goodbyes before making our way upstairs. Despite the shaky start, I think our fellow guests came away quite happy. I would call this evening a smashing success, with the emphasis on smashing. Vina was clutching my mother's arm, looking half dazed. Romus the Red, long may he reign. Jacob. That's right, darling. Let's get you to bed. Although she's crass, she's still doing her role as a grandmother. My three counselors were still at their table. Lucida's eyes were sparkling as she regaled the other two with an apparently hilarious anecdote. I'll be right behind you. I just gotta say goodbye to my staff. Take your time, sweetheart. She gave me a knowing smile. Vina was too busy attempting to pirouette in her ball gown to register what I've said. As my family headed out, I walked over to my counselor's table, and he just stormed into my barracks without a stitch on. And he just stormed into my barracks without a stitch on, screaming, "If you weren't a duchess, I have you drawn and quartered." Who did? Oh. She, Laurento, and Elena immediately straightened up and stopped laughing. Your Majesty, the Duchess was telling us about the time she hid hiding her commanding officer's fatigues while he was swimming. He was a dare back in basic training. I had to scrub the kitchen floor for 3 weeks, but it was worth it. Oh, okay. It was part of a drinking game, Your Majesty, a rather infantile one. Can I play? If a thief can handle it, Your Majesty. She had a teasing look in her eyes. I wonder how much she had to drink. Pebble, some wine for the king, please. Right away, Mr. Escabel. Pebble approached the table and gave me a generous pour of Romus the Red. Why don't you play too, Pebble? I detected a cautious excitement in his eyes. It will be my pleasure, Your Majesty. He sat down. Lucida rubbed her hands together. Perfect, Pavel. I think we all love to learn. We all love to learn more about you. Now, have you played Facts or Fiction before? Truth or Dare? Yes, no need to explain the rule. Sure, but could you go over the rules again? It's simple. You tell us 3 statements about yourself. 2 of them have to be true. 1 must be a lie. Each of us then guess which statement is false. If we guess wrong, we have to drink. She gestured to Pavel, who quickly topped up her wine glass. Ooh, she's hiding something. Oh, she gestured. Okay, never mind. But I'm kind of surprised that those two, like Elena and Loranto, like they're going with this. It seems too childish for them. But maybe it's like, you know, since they have wealth of experience, this is like, it's a good time. It's a good way to wind down. It was just my turn. I'll let His Majesty choose the next player. Since I missed your story, I think you should take another turn, Duchess Zara. Lucida gave me a sly smile. As you wish, Your Majesty. Despite my Azaro heritage, I couldn't stand the sight of blood as a child. There was a time when I fainted from pricking my own finger. My cousin Zola confided in me that she despised her husband-to-be, so I falsified evidence that he was having an affair with a commoner. The engagement was broken off at once. And I have a lucky set of undergarments that I wear to important meetings and military exercises. Lorenzo raised an eyebrow. Okay, facts or fiction? Okay, I don't think this is definitely a fake. This is false. Maybe, but I'm interested in this. I want to say this is the truth. Intriguing, dear Duchess, but false. Azaros don't fall prey to superstition. Wait. I kind of forgot. Dang it. Is it one false? Is it 1 false or 2? Is it 1 false or 1 truth? Oh god. Okay, can I check on this one a bit? Kingdom of Rizia, fact or fiction? Game. Suzerain. Huh? Fact or huh? Dang it. Wait. Fiction. Ah, dang it. Can't find it. Okay, if there's one thing you don't do, it's the fate of Sign of Blood. That's the lie. I agree. You don't seem to like the lucky underwear type. I agree. I sooner believe that than the idea of Lucida Azaro fainting on at a drop of blood. No, the blood story is implausible. So, the blood story is so implausible that it must be true. I have my doubts about your role in the dissolution of your cousin's engagement. Lucida shook her head. You had it right, Your Majesty. I don't wear lucky underwear on important days. Pavel and Elena took sips of their wine. Lucida continued with a mischievous smile on her face. Actually, on such occasions, I find it invigorating to wear nothing at all beneath. Oh, Lorenzo and Elena tried each other. Look, Pavel politely calm. Perhaps now would be a good time for Duchess Zara to retire. There's been a great deal of wine flowing tonight. It's all harmless fun, Pavel, isn't it, Your Majesty? Hmm. We all deserve some reprieve from the stiff formalities of royal life. I did number 3 or number 4. Yeah, I think maybe see 3. Everybody. But then like this one is targeted at her. But I think like we have to say the Duchess is a grown woman, Pavel. Don't police her drinking. Ava frowned. I apologize to you both. I was only trying to be helpful. If you like to be helpful, you can fetch us a new bottle. This one's almost empty. Straight away, Duchess Cesaro. He disappeared to the kitchen and came back with more wine. Lucida looked at me expectantly. Miss Werner, if you please. I still find this childish in my day. If people wanted to get drunk, they got drunk. But if you insist, she thought for a moment. I have an antique coin collection that's worth more than my house. My late husband and I once undertook a 3-week sailing trip to Gomlin and back. And I once had to stop Queen Liza from purchasing a diamond necklace with Rizian treasure money. Ooh. You didn't really sail to Gomlin. She said that she couldn't stand like being on a ship. Okay, so number 2 is wrong. Yeah, I call foul on the Liza story. Her Majesty was beyond such shenanigans. I can't believe Her Majesty Liza would attempt such a purchase, but not that you would stop it, Miss Warner. Lorenzo grinned and shook his head. This is too easy. If there's one thing you hated more than sailing, it was your dearly departed husband. Elena sighed. Yes, that's right. Oh! Lucida and Pavel picked up their glasses. Each took a healthy sip. So, my grandmother wasn't such a saint after all. To be fair, this was towards the end of her life. I think her mind was going. Well done, Mr. Werner. Who's next? Escabel. With pleasure. He gave his wine with glass a dramatic swirl. When I'm in a diplomatic meeting that I know is trivial, I draw caricatures instead of taking notes. Ooh, I can see that happening. When I was out of university, I challenged the mayor of Salvador to a duel. Not surprising. I accidentally shouted "All hail the new queen" at His Majesty King Valero's coronation. Number 3, I can think that because like Queen Liza is like a prominent figure. You're not really doodling during meetings, are you? I think this is it. I think this is it. Oh, damn. Okay. Challenge the mayor to celebrate to a duel. I think that sounds improbable, but it's just when he's out of university. There is a chance. Number 3, you're not dueling during meetings, are you? Even if you were, I doubt he'd admit to you. The duel scenario seems to be the most far-fetched to me. I've heard the duel story 100 times, Lorenzo. You didn't challenge the mayor of Celebus, it was the Earl of Yales. Lorenzo gave her an abashed look. You know me too well, Miss Werner. Huh? Drink. God dang it. Lucida drained her glass. I followed suit. Elena smirked triumphantly. I noted Pavel's look a slight of concern. What was the duel about? So you call my father a queen? And let's let it go. So you call my father a queen? Quite accidentally, Your Majesty. He was drowned out in the loud chorus of other voices. How anticlimactic, and Mr. Escabel. She tapped on her glass. Pavel dutifully refilled it. Who's our next victim? Maybe I should just say myself. My counselor looked at each other with no small amount of excitement. I could feel my head spinning. I racked my brain for ideas. I have a birthmark on my chest in the exact shape of Palace Administrative District. Growing up in Palace Taurus, I once mistook the priceless Markian vase for a urinal. My great king Zexi II never actually had a mustache. I drew one. I can belch the Rizia national anthem. I have trouble concentrating. I blurred out the first thing that came into mind. I wish Rizia would get into a big bloody war so I can prove myself. Ooh, this one is not a lie. I feel so goddamn lonely all the time. The others exchanged trouble looks. Lorenzo cautiously spoke up. Of course you're not lonely with your family in the palace, Your Majesty. That was a lie. The others quickly nodded their assent. I could see Lucida scrutinizing me closely. You guessed it, that was my lie. There was a palpable feeling of relief in the air. Oh, dang. So, the Palace Administrative District. May we see it, Your Majesty? Sure. I unbuttoned the top button of my shirt and showed her the birthmark. She slowly reached over and ran her fingertips across it. Her touch was electric. Looks more like Kairoot to me. Your Majesty, you have a long day ahead of you. Why don't we adjourn? But we're just getting to the good stuff. Lorenzo pushed back his chair. This elder statesman is going to call it an evening, Your Majesty. Thank you for enlightening me. Yes, we all learn a great deal, possibly too much. Lucida shook her head. The more intimately we know each other, the better we can fight as a team. It's an old army trick. Shall I escort you to your quarters, Majesty? Yes, thank you. We still didn't listen to Fable though. I should have like let him go first. I thought like we can leave him for last. Like I thought like if I give him, then I don't have my turn. My counselors and I said our goodbyes. They dispersed to the room they were staying in. I suddenly became acutely aware of how much wine I had to drink. Hubble helped keep me steady as we made our way upstairs to my suite. He swiftly ushered me inside and took off my coat. The butler's quarters are connected by an adjoining door. Just knock if you need me. Able to walk over to the side of the room. He paused with his hand on the doorknob. I hope you enjoy your evening, Your Majesty. I didn't make a complete ass of myself, did I? Even if you did, I doubt anyone will remember what was said. I'll see you in the morning. He left the room and gently closed the door behind him. With some difficulty, I undressed and crawled into bed. I was just starting to drift off to sleep when a soft knock came at the door. Answer it. Lucida was standing there, still dressed in her beaded gown she wore earlier. Your Majesty, I just received a message of great importance from Buckler Intelligence. May I come in? Of course, Duchess Azaro. Lucida walked into my suite. I followed her in and closed the door. As soon as it had shut, she stepped towards me. There was a look of urgency in her eyes. Pull her closer. I took her hands and pulled her closer. We stood still for a moment, regarding each other. What was the message from Wacklin? He smiled guiltily. A false pretense, Your Majesty. I didn't want this to be the way we get together. Let me take you out to the proper date. Like, okay. There's a couple of problems here with Lucida, right? Number one, like the game has been nudging us about if we're gonna have like another child, there's gonna be a big problem. Number 2 is that Lucida, even though that she's like she's not a warhawk, but she don't mind getting into wars. Okay, so that's one thing. Question now is, should we kiss her? Should we? Should we? But remember, when we have a kid, that's gonna be a problem. Oh my god. I don't want this to be the way we get together. Let me take you out on a proper date. Deep down, I still want to choose one though. Let's go for a proper date. You look confused. I'm right here. Isn't this more efficient? Or whatever you say. Until next time then. She gave a flustered bow and left the room. I shut the door and got back to sleep. I slept more soundly than I had in months. Okay, I think with that, it kind of like showed us like we're kind of like a chicken. So that probably makes us like, you know, I'm scared that if we had a one night, a one night swing, and we made one, and that's gonna cause a problem. That's why like I'm holding back. I'm scared that like if we have a child out of wedlock, that's gonna be a big problem. So that's why I didn't choose kiss her. I think I'm happy with that choice, because having a child out of wedlock for a royal family, that's a big deal. And if that happened, then like maybe we'll not be able to like, be together. Ariana Toras Association leads peaceful protests against Wetland's AN decision. Ariana Toras. Yeah, this is the one that we made. Following our agreement with Duke Reinhardt, preliminary construction has begun on a pipeline of Orius natural gas fuel to mainland Rizia. Once the exact terms and details for our exploration rights deal have been finalized, it is expected that drilling and energy delivery will be able to commence immediately. In the weeks since Victor Small's AN announcement, the Zil branch of the Ariana Toras Association has... Oh, okay. Rufus Gregg Royal Gossip. Valanquist's elite turn up for callous uncorking. A family night home. Okay. This is because like we didn't sign the freedom of the press. Backland announcement throws Zil into confusion. Geopolitics. Rumbuck denounces Wackland over Zil claim. All embargo continues. Kingdom of Rumbuck has officially denounced Republic of Wackland's decision to continue occupying Zil region past the terms of agreement upon treaty. Then Queen Beatrice, blah blah blah. It's too bad that we couldn't like force a full embargo though. Significant reduction in occasional military presence in war-torn regions. Kennel emerges as strategic Ado hub. AN Shocker. Wackland refuses to recruit Zil. Volkson Chancellor interrupts a AN session. Okay. Let me double check something. Oh, I still haven't built that. Let me double check. Yeah, we need to make this soon. Okay. Now, I first wanted to like use... Actually wanted to like... Actually, I wanted to pass actually wanted to pass this, okay, housing for poor initiative, but I think we'll hold it off. Okay, we'll hold that off. We'll go for increased health and education funding next turn. Okay, that and the upgrading the port. Okay, those two are something that we need to do. Public transportation inefficiency crisis. Rizia public transportation system is grappling with an efficiency crisis. Strained by burgeoning demands and passenger numbers, transportation officials are pushing for urgent action, highlighting the need for increased funding and modernization. The government must decide between investing in infrastructure improvements, technological upgrades, or exploring alternative transit solutions. The outcome will crucially impact the daily lives of residents and the industry of urban mobility. The Rizian infrastructure network is our backbone. Oh, damn. Okay. So I think what we're gonna do, subsidies. Okay, we gotta go for this. Okay. So investment in public transport infrastructure. So we gotta make this. Okay. Gotta make that. Plus, oh god. Okay, I think we have to make that one first. Okay, we have to make that one first, and then we'll go for health and education. I think now we can focus more on like welfare. I think we focus a lot on like economy. Now we have to focus a bit on welfare. CSP front. Okay, what does it say here? As part of the increasingly tight security measures, public gathering over 50 people are prohibited in the region of Zil. Okay, vital rail link fails. Oh god, we definitely have to invest on that because it takes like a couple of turns, right? Oh, it's pretty fast. Okay, maybe we can delay it unless we can sell stuff. Like my priority for the next turn, like I say, will be for the port and for the increased health and funding, because we made a promise, so we have to keep that. Those two, if not, we're probably gonna have a revolution. Mediations. Oh, meditations. Oh my god. With the report. In a Isa Heavy Industrial Zone enters business. In a ceremony involving business leaders, our local government official, our Saison representative, and Isa Heavy Industrial Park has officially been declared open. Its rare metal and steel processing plants are starting their operation as of tomorrow, with scientist teams moving to their labs in the weeks to come. Mysterious gas field expansion. The new offshore greatly increases the field output, paving the way for Rizia's continue its relevance as a producer of natural gas. Hydroelectric dam powers up. 9 turbines roar in unison as the Zapana Hydroelectric Dam entered operations. The Monarchy flagship energy project is providing electricity to over 500,000 households. In recent months, many inhabitants of the Brenas province have flocked to the newly created artificial lake north of Zapana, enjoying the vast waters, admiring the wonders of Rizia's technology. Prime Minister Sultana calls emergency midst board meeting. Okay. Yes, let's see. We have 6. So just nice for welfare. Just nice for welfare. This one. But the problem with this is that -2 budget per turn. That's pretty big. That and this. At least it's only 3 budget. It doesn't like cost per turn. 2-turn construction, okay. Victor Smolak, the president of Wackland, had finally agreed to meet me with after several months of silence. Just ahead of my meeting with him, I convened with my council for a briefing. Thank you all for joining us here. He looked around the table. Vina, Lorento, Lucida, Elena, and Sal. Lorento, as you have the latest information on Wackland's foreign ministry, would you like to begin? What can His Majesty expect today? Lorento stood up. He paced back and forth energetically as he spoke. We are in uncharted territory, Your Grace. President Smolak's invocation of the threat mitigation protocol has been challenged, but the AN failed to meet a consensus. Essentially, he is in a position to hold Zil hostage until his demands are met. And indeed, the new handover plan his ministers are now proposing has a 3-year timeline attached to it. That can't be standard procedure, can it? I trusted you, Mr. Escobar. You couldn't do any better than that? 2 years is nothing in the grand scheme of my lengthy reign. I'm willing to wait. Nope. If that's how long it takes for this to be done properly, I'm fine with that. It's not standard procedure, is it? As I said, this is an unprecedented situation. I believe the AN is satisfied that President Smolak has set a new deadline at all. And what makes us think that this one will be met when the last one was not? Anger danced in Lucida's eye. She gestured at the rest of the table. Yeah, this anger is justified. This is our territory. Why are we not setting the agenda? I'm surprised the international community is not challenging an oppressive man like Smolak. The others look at her in mild surprise. What of the people living in Zil? Has anyone asked them how they feel about the extra 3 years of Wexex rule? My treasurer smiled wistfully. We may still have the opportunity to set the agenda. Any agreement Wackland proposes is bound to have an economic aspect. And considering the dire straits of Wackland is in with the rest of the world, President Smolak might be about to offer us the deal of our lives. Correct as usual, dear. Lorento opened his notebook. I'll remind you all that Wackland is under partial sanction by most of the West. The one commodity they have been trading freely is oil, but the embargo we agreed on with Romberg has been slowing that down. This is why I want to remove air. The reason I built the dam in the first place is to remove the reliance on it. The presence of the Ariana Toras solution in Zil has helped sway public sentiment to our side. Our investigators are cooperating with Wackland intelligence, which will make it more difficult for President Smolak to claim we are uninterested in the region's security. Even so, we should handle this meeting with delicacy. Any aggression on our part can be used against us. To hell with delicacy. Wackland never been delicate with us. I'm prepared to give Smolak everything he asked for. Nope. Delicacy is one thing, submission is another. We must be careful with what we promise. Very true, Your Majesty. At some point, it may become necessary to call Wackland's bluff. I know this much, Your Grace. Unless concessions are made, it will take years, if not decades, to get Zil back. Any questions thus far, Your Majesty? What is the status of our foreign investigation? Thank you, Your Majesty. A few fingerprints were found near the bomb site, but they don't match with the ones we have on file or Su Omena members. Nor were they recognized by Wackland's database. But that's good for us. It means Su Omena can be ruled out. Okay? Not entirely. We don't have files for every single member. Miss Werner, which resources are we able to bargain with? A good question, Your Majesty. Gold is always an option, especially since we raised our stake in RRG. Although if you follow through with your support of Morella and its crusade for the control of Maftium's ITZ, our most lucrative resources may soon be off limits. The regulations have also dented our small arms industry, but we can offer Dator rifles. We have a sizable wine surplus that we can sell for trade. We didn't drink it all in Callus. It only felt like we did. Vina grimaced at the reminder while the other councillors chuckled. If we can manage to free up the natural gas in the Aureus field in the time, whatever we don't sell to Romberg will be a tradable asset. But a country as as rich in oil as Westland won't need much of it. Yep. If all else fail, we have a healthy budget. But I'd rather not pay Westland what amounts to ransom money. Grand Wiseman Ignatius, do you think the religious affair of Westland can have an impact on negotiations? It may very well, Your Majesty. From passively. Our neighbor has long followed the path of Trinity, and I do not fault them for it. Both in the hands of the current regime, that religion has become a cudgel with which to persecute Westland's Golcondic minority. The Bloods, you mean? Is the Bludish Golcondism the same as practiced in Indoria? There are few divergences, mostly regarding the use of violence against an opponent who has not directly provoked you. Bludish Golcondic scripture forbids this, though the definition of provoke is often stretched. The Dirtians allow it when the Supreme Wiseman has deemed that it is for the greater good. No surprises there. Hugo, is there any word from the House delegates on this? They have met about it, Your Majesty. The majority consensus was that the timeline of Zil handover should take a backseat to protecting Lysian interests. Conceding too much to Westland too quickly will earn you the ire of the Baroness of Reva and her party. The opposition, meanwhile, is much more amenable to compromise, particularly those party members from Brenas. That makes sense. They've been missing a piece of their province for long enough already. With all due respect, Your Highness, the Saisons lost the right to call Zil theirs when the former Duke of Isa committed his act of treachery. They cannot seriously expect that it will be reincorporated into Brenas if nothing happened. And why not? We took Isa from them. How much more punishment does their house need to endure? Lucida looked askance at her. I do hope you're not letting emotions cloud your judgment, Your Highness. For what it's worth, I agree with the princess, and not only because of the number of historic Escabel estates are located in Zil. What fallout can we expect if we don't come to an agreement? Lorenzo looked down. I highly doubt that a full deal will be reached today, only the beginnings of one. His Majesty question stands. Do we have a contingency plan? Well, Duchess, if our negotiation falls through, and international pressure is insufficient to force Westland back to the table, then the responsibility will fall on Zil itself. Lucida flashed him a skeptical look. Which means what exactly, Mr. Escabel? If a majority of Zil's citizens believe the territory should belong to Rizia, the Wexit government cannot simply ignore them, especially if we gather external support. They can and they will. No state peacefully gives power away. That's true, we're a monarchy. Supporting any kind of people's movement could backfire horribly. Do we even have a majority? I thought the opinion was divided. It doesn't have to be peaceful, does it? Forget I asked. I'd rather focus on negotiation for now. Okay, don't we have a majority? President Smolak's announcement has already put many undecided citizens into the pro-Rizian column, and we have avenues to influence them further. The Zil branch of ETA has already begun coordinating a Rizian-led reunification initiative in the wake of AN announcement. With enough pressure from both sides, and outside Zil, Westland will have to give the region back, or at the very least, hold a referendum. Zil doesn't need a referendum, Mr. Escabel. It needs a resistance. It cuts off from the Wexit mainland, divert enough funding and weapons to the right groups, and we can make an overthrow happen without getting our hands dirty. I still want to deal this the proper way. My dear Duchess, you and your family really must learn that bloodshed isn't the answer to everything. You know what will end in bloodshed? Telling our people in Zil to rise against the government without giving them the means to defend themselves. Or for that, sending the message that our all-powerful king is placing stock in the result of a people's vote. Hugo gave me a significant look. My son told me what he offered you in Zil, Your Majesty. Perhaps now would be the time to take him up on it. He turned to the others. We had the opportunity to activate a cell of Su Omina in Zil. Lorenzo and Vina looked horrified. Neither Elena or Lucida seemed surprised. To what end, Your Majesty? I think it's a preposterous idea too. As a last resort, in case negotiations don't work out. Lucida was staring at me intensely. A loyalist militia that can't be traced to our government. This could prove very useful, Your Majesty. But only if they had more arms and better training. Otherwise, they'd just be a nuisance to both sides. Good point, I'll see what I can do about that. I think we are good in our position to negotiate Zill's returning without raising the ante. I should hope so. I'm as brave as I'm going to be. Time to go meet President Smolak. Very good, Your Majesty. He's expecting us in the downstairs diplomatic suite. Good luck, Father. I'm crossing my fingers for results. As am I. Elena, Hugo, and Vina left the room. Lucida seemed to be intentionally delaying for her exit, her eyes locked onto mine. Titus and Laurento stood by the door, waiting to escort me to the meeting room. Can you two wait outside? I'll be there in a moment. Yeah, talk with Lucida. Of course, Your Majesty. With a knowing grin, Laurento bowed and motioned Titus to follow him into the hall. Lucida snapped her attaché case shut and turned to me. I hope you understand that our personal relationship has no bearing on my political decisions. Of course, Your Majesty. In fact, I've been thinking. My advances toward you in Callus were rather ill-advised. I'm afraid I overstepped the bounds of propriety. As much as I love to walk out these chambers arm in arms with you, I'm afraid you're right. A king and a key member of the Royal Council, it just isn't done. People talk on the council and beyond. I hate for anyone to think your national security decisions were influenced by our personal intimacy. Perhaps it's best to keep this under wraps until my father is well enough to resume his position. A pragmatic, beautiful noblewoman. I should have married you long ago. This one enigmatically. You may still get the chance. In the meantime, here's something for luck. She held out her hand, in it a small wooden object. It's a chess piece, a queen. It appeared to be made of marble with golden details. I picked it up and took a closer look. There was a pair of crossed swords carved into it, the Azaro sigil. My uncles, the mutineers, ransacked his country house after they killed him. They took the set, but this must have fallen out in the chaos. Thanks to my father's partnership with Vaklan, those killers were brought to justice. Can't take this, it must hold deep sentimental value to you. A queen, the most valuable piece on the chessboard. You have a 6. She's a versatile attacker and an invaluable defender, all in the service of protecting her king. She took my hand and gave it a quick squeeze. You should head to your meeting. We'll debrief later. Thank you, Duchess Azaro. I slipped the chess piece into my pocket and stepped into the hall to rejoin my bodyguard and foreign counselor. May I ask, Your Majesty? May I ask if there will be any dueling going on during this meeting, Mr. Escabel? Laurento face reddened. He didn't speak another word as Titus escorted us through the winding corridors on the first floor diplomatic suite. We left Titus standing guard outside the door and walked in. President Smolak was sitting in the room, flipping through a copy of the Royal Herald. He stood up and bowed to each of us. Your Majesty, Mr. Escabel, it's truly a pleasure to be here. I wish I could say the same, President Smolak. I wish I could say the same, President Smolak. And why not? Our differences aside, there is always pleasure in two world leaders meeting eye to eye. Yeah, but you accused us in the AN, man. He set down the newspaper he's been reading. You wouldn't believe what they're saying about me in your newspaper, Your Majesty. Smolak's iron grip on Zil, enforced by a dictatorial command rather than any real respect for international law or the rights of the local population, should be seen as a threat to us all. I can't control what the Rizian press say about you, no more than I can control what it says about me. Yeah, I think number 2. Your Majesty, I have suspicion that your media function much in the same way as mine. Not a word is permitted that your government doesn't approve of. You see, you and I are not as different as you might like to believe. With all due respect, being a king comes with a challenge and pressures that ordinary presidents can never understand. You're right, neither of us want occasion greed to spread across Merkopa. With all due respect. If we cannot understand each other, what was the point of my coming here today? Lorenzo jumped in smoothly. What His Majesty meant to say was, despite your differing leadership style, he believes that there is still a chance to come to a productive agreement today, and so do I. The meeting room should be ready by now. Should we proceed? He led us into the next room over, where a set of blue upholstered armchairs were arranged around a circular table. The 3 of us had a seat. The palace aide came by with water and coffee. And now that you're here, Mr. Smolak, can you explain in greater detail why you decided to postpone Zil's handover? Smolak took a sip of water. He slowly wiped his mustache. It is simple, Mr. Escabel. Zil is now home to several millions of Waxac origin. Under the terms of treaty our predecessors signed, they were to have the right to stay and work in the region. But the Zil attack made it clear that those terms would not be respected without the protection of my government. I fear further violence will come to those who stay. What about the Rizian whose homes were destroyed by a civil war? You didn't seem to care about their safety. I don't understand. I and my kingdom have been nothing but cooperative in the wake of the Zil incident. Words, Your Majesty. Only words. You may not have incited the incident, but by failing to denounce the suspected perpetrators, you condoned it. Your continued partnership with Romberg in the face of all its effort to destabilize us is also a warning sign to me. I cannot simply hand these people's life over to a government that is at best indifferent to their existence. Who will protect them? They don't need protecting because they never belonged in Zil in the first place. Nope. That's gonna like antagonize him. Whatever you believe Romberg has done or is doing to Wekland, Rizia has actually no part of it, and we're actually lying. Okay, I understand we will make special effort to integrate all Wexec who wish to stay. Lorenzo nodded. Rizia takes violent concerns very seriously, and we are ready to take all available measures to ensure the security of your people once the region is back in Rizia's hands. That is comforting to know, Mr. Escabel. President Smolak smiled just a little too widely. My ministers and I agree that before Zil is reintegrated into Rizia, a good faith effort must be made to strengthen the bonds between our countries. And therefore, we've drafted an addendum to the original treaty, a series of measures meant to renew our old friendship. And if this friendship helps Wekland bypass certain trade sanctions, so much the better. Not really. What precisely do you mean by friendship? A military alliance? No. The fact they say military alliance, it's very dangerous. If you're concerned about Rizian nationally attacking Wexec, I must warn you that such measures will only make them more angry. Okay, maybe we can just ask. This is just asking. Not quite. We in Wekland do not require the Rizian military help to defend ourselves. Oh, good. Lorenzo pulled a folder out of his briefcase and opened it on the table. Mr. President, we received the draft from your ministers, but the terms were extremely vague. You're asking for a trade deal, a bilateral migration agreement, and a counter-terrorism cooperation pact? Tell me about this trade deal, President Smolak. Very gladly, Your Majesty. You may know, Wackland has found itself with an oil surplus due to decreased demand from Rumberg and other monarchies. Meanwhile, we are worried that the impact of the loss of Zil will have on our economy. We will need a way to stabilize our currency. We therefore propose a straightforward exchange of Waxac oil and Rizian oil, Waxac oil for Rizian's gold. And what I'm sure you will agree is a very favorable rate. 6 barrels for every ounce, to be exact. What makes you think Rizia is in the market for Waxac oil? An interesting offer, and the rate is indeed favorable. We do have other interested parties, but of course Rizia gets first priority. Like, remember, we are working closely with Rumberg, and like working with him actually will see like a betrayal to Rumberg, and I don't want to like get Rumberg on our back. I've been told that your kingdom is about to come into a large amount of natural gas, but your councils will tell you about the importance of diversifying one's energy sources. Your republic is not known for stability. How can you guarantee that you'll be a reliable trading partner? We'll keep that quiet. We're still on shaky grounds in the Grand Duchy of Palace. Despite our gas agreement, having a backup energy source might be prudent. You may be right. Access to oil alongside natural gas would grant us more flexibility, not to mention more options for trade with our neighbors. Yeah, I can say Rizia already have. This one is like, we're talking a bit logically. We already have all the energy it needs, Mr. President. We do not wish to purchase more. I'll correct you there, Your Majesty. Having an energy surplus for export could prove useful down the line. Your Majesty, your counsels are very wise. As for gold, I know better than to question its quality. But I have concerns about the consistency of your supply. Why? What are your concerns? As the owner of nearly half the gold, I have a vested interest in keeping gold production consistent. You are referring to morale stock in the AN. I hope you don't actually believe in premises Sultana's empty threats. What are your concerns? Until Morella nationalizes myths and your miners vanish. I was there at the AN too, if you recall. President Smolak, please rest assured that we will not promise you an amount of gold we are unable to deliver. However, we have other commodities that we can offer instead of or in addition to gold. Would those be of interest? If the price is right, why not? I'm a flexible man. With a grin, he held his arm up and bent his wrist nearly all the way backwards. Lorenzo smiled patiently. I should tell you that Wackland has other commodities too, Mr. Escabel. For instance, we are seeking to expand the market for morphine and other pharmaceutical products, not to mention Merkopa's finest tobacco. Our timber industry is also unparalleled in Merkopa. Your nobles might take a particular interest in our wood carvings. We are negotiating for the legal return of their reign. I never heard of Wenzek's wood carvings. Our artisans only serve the most exclusive customer, Your Majesty. Each piece can take years to complete. A few of my family heirlooms are Wenzek's handiwork. They still look good as new after a century. Your family must have a discerning taste, but we can also offer raw timber as well as less deluxe furniture at lower price points. You see, Wellen is not only an oil country, but just as Rizia is not only as a gold one, there is plenty we can offer each other. Is the bilateral migration agreement what it sounds like? I believe so. We are asking for a complete freedom of movement between Wackland and Rizia. No. It is our wish that Wenzek residing in this country enjoy the same rights as native-born Rizians. I can extend the rights to the Wenzek currently living in Zil, but to every citizen in Wackland? I think this is everyone or no one. Your Majesty. Otherwise, those in Zil risk becoming isolated from their family and business connection on the mainland. If it were highly regulated, the integration of Wessex into Rizian workforce could be more of a benefit than a drawback. Precisely, Mr. Escobar. Rizians can't hold a candle to my people's work ethic. Really? Looking at you? You want to say work ethic? With that said, Mr. Smolak, are you not worried about a potential loss of skilled workers as Wessex seek higher compensation in Rizia? Of course I have thought about that, but the trade agreement I have already proposed will help level out the economic disparities between our nations. So you are trying to drag Rizia down with Westland's level. It will take more than a trade deal to repair Westland's damage, Mr. Smolak. Westland does have a lot of untapped potential. With the right path of development, it could be restored to the glory of the 1920s. We are diamond in the rough, Your Majesty. Set us in gold and we will shine. Yeah, if we take you out. I'm interested in hearing more about this anti-terrorism pact. Ah, yes. Your Majesty, Mr. Escobar, how much do you know about Bluedish Freedom Front? They were founded in protest of Tarquin policies in Swordland. They've been active around the border between your countries. Coalition of radical separatists who've lost their purpose since their leader was jailed. They are a resistance group fighting against the oppression of the Bluedish people. They've been forced to commit some extreme acts over their history. I think number one. He shook his head. That may have been how they started, but the threat they pose is not limited to one small region. And they are not acting alone. Their so-called fight for peace is in reality a mass destabilization effort funded by the West. In fact, one of the BFF's biggest supporters is none other than your lovely sister-in-law. I hope you have concrete evidence to back up that accusation, Mr. President. I have no knowledge. I do not besmirch the honor for Her Excellency Queen Beatrice, President Smolak. I beg your pardon, but I have trouble believing you. BFFs are... Okay, from here it's either 1 or 3. I hope you have concrete evidence. We are gathering exactly such evidence. Our report on this will shock the world. President Smolak, I'm aware that BFFs has not gone completely inactive since the retirement of Tarquin Sol, and that they may in fact be gathering their strength. But you have not yet made it clear what you want from Rizia. Patience, Mr. Escobar. You may be aware that most Bloods are followers of the Ruhis sect called Golkondism. Yes, their religion fanaticism makes them even more dangerous. So I hear, aren't they the largest Golkondist community outside of Dirdia? Precisely. In fact, Yorga Azmal's country has been granting sanctuary even to the most notorious of Bluedish criminals. My request is simple. All Wagzak Bloods and Dirdian citizens are to return away at the Rizian border. That's it? Mr. President, I can't ban people from my country based on their religion. Rizia is a duty bound to welcome fellow Ruhisis even if they belong to a fringe sect. Whether Dirdian, Bluedish or Golkondism is not compatible with Rizian, that much we can agree on. I can get behind the Bluedish ban, but banning Dirdians would have huge international ramification. I think here is this. We remain the higher ground. Dirdians are a nationality, not a religion, and Wagzak Bloods are an ethnic group as distinctly marked in their identification documents. That may be so, Mr. Smolak, but the international community would see this as a religious ban. Were the ban limited to only with Bluedish identification documents, we would have a far easier time implementing it. Surely you understand. What I understand is that the Bluedish refugees have a fast track to Dirdian citizenship. By allowing Dirdian passport holders into Rizia, you may as well open your borders to the BFF. So these are my terms. You may take or leave them, unless what? Well, Your Majesty, let's say the Republic of Wagner decided to take a more proactive approach to the BFF problem. Laurento nervously adjusts his tie. If your kingdom promised to aid us in that, no. It would of course be far more valuable than any form of border control. Proactive? Problem? I don't like the sound of either of those. Indeed not, President Smollett. I hope your so-called solution does not involve retaliatory violence. Nothing so vulgar, Mr. Escabel. It is our long-term goal to drive the insurgents out of their strongholds in the north of our country. Once that happens, we suspect some will flee south towards Zil. In that case, we would be most grateful if the Rizian Navy prevented them from reaching the destination. This is your battle to fight, President Smollett, not Rizia's. All of us must do our part in the fight against the Bluish extremism and Western influence, Your Majesty. But I'm happy to discuss our other terms. Lorenzo took one last glance at his folder, then looked up at us both. I believe we covered everything, you gentlemen. Everything except for these measures for which this measure will actually be implemented and how. Yes, that's still to be decided upon. Your Majesty, any agreement we make today will go into the effect as soon as possible, but Zil Hanover will not. We are not looking for a long-term partnership with Rizia. You cannot simply tear up this treaty as soon as you get what you want. So we are asking for a 3-year probationary period. If all is still well between Wachlan and Rizia by the end of that time, we will be able to return Zil with full confidence. When will it end? How can I be sure that the 3 years won't turn to 10? Don't worry, Your Majesty. As long as the terms are met, the handover will proceed as planned. Lorenzo finished jotting something down on his notepad. Thank you for your explanation, Mr. Smollett. This has been very informative. Would you mind waiting in the sitting room while His Majesty and I decide on Rizia's half of the agreement? It will be my pleasure. Smollett exited the room backwards, bobbing as he did so. Well, quite a lot to think about, Your Majesty. I've drafted the documents right here, if you're ready. I have a few more questions, if you please. Naturally, Your Majesty. Granting Wessex full rights in Rizia, do you think that's a good idea? It is perhaps President Smollett's boldest demand, and it would be rather extreme leap for Rizia, considering that Wessex and other migrants do not even have the right to work the same jobs as native-born Rizians do. Passing such a monumental decree without approval of your council or the House of Delegates could prove dangerous. Yeah, that one is out. Granting working right is the furthest you should go, I think. But other factions may have different opinions. I'm confused about this trade deal he's asking for. Do we need to import and export exactly the same amount of goods? Not necessarily, Your Majesty. In fact, if we don't want to make too many concessions in other areas, we may have a settle for a lopsided deal. What will be the impact if I enact the bans he's asking for? That depends, Your Majesty. Higher immigration controls would overjoy your nationalist supporters, but refusing Durian's entry into our country would lead to an outcry both internationally and our existing Durian population. As Durian also fill many low-wage jobs in Rizia, the ban may dent our economy as well. The ban on Blues should not ruffle as many feathers, though it is rumored concerning Romberg's support of the BFF are true, we do risk the ire of Her Excellency. I feel Mr. Smollett is demanding too much. My foreign counsellor looked troubled. To be honest, we don't have enough of a negotiating edge over Wachlan to simply discard this agreement. If you refuse every single one of the conditions listed here, a diplomatic handover of Zil will be out of the question. In other words, we have to resort to one of those contingency plans we resorted earlier. Even you must realize that the diplomatic handover was never in the cards, not as long as that guy's in charge. I know President Smollett is an eccentric man, but I do believe his primary intention is to end Wachlan's isolation. If he feels he has an ally in Rizia, there will be no reason for him to keep control of Zil. Thank you, Mr. Escabel. Let's have a look at the draft. With pleasure, Your Majesty. He handed me the treaty amendment draft, and I began going through it. Okay, the Zeal Agreement is being negotiated to strengthen the economic, cultural, and political ties between the nation of Wachlan and Rizia. Wachlan wants to meet certain new conditions in comprehensive bilateral agreement. So like any other following. Choose Wagzak goods to be imported under the new trading agreement. Ooh. Okay, if we take the oil, then like the grace will be. We'll just see timber first, okay? We'll see how it goes. Like any other two. Oh, one but oh dang. Wine. Small arms. Counterinsurgency and counterinsurgency aid promise. Wachlan is asking Rizia to promise future aid against the Bluish Freedom Front, especially by sending ships to the Straits of Prelec. No. Don't promise aid. Counter-terrorism border control. Wachlan has proposed new measures to prevent Bluish Freedom Front members from crossing the Rizia border. They are calling for a do not. Wait, let me double check. Let's see if we do not implement. Okay, Wazek, the equal right to work. We cannot give full right. No. Oh god. I don't mind giving my wine and small arms. Ooh. Ooh, it's on our side. Huh. I think like -1 gold is still okay. -1 budget is still okay, then -2 energy. I think like 1 energy is equal to like 1.5 budget. So natural gas is just a bit too much. Yeah. Okay, timber, furniture, and wood carvings. Do not implement a ban. Grand West. Oh god, negotiating power. It's equal. That I can say. Go! Lorenzo noted each decision I made in margins of the document. When we had finished going through everything, he sat back and raised an eyebrow. Very bold, Your Majesty. I hope Wachlan will accept it. He asked an aide to call Smolak back into the room. The president of Wachlan wiped Rosetta crumbs off his mustache as he entered. What a delicious tart your people have invented. Now, imagine it with a crust made of our own strudel pastry. But first thing first, let's have a look at the treaty. Lorenzo handed him an annotated draft and he flipped through it eagerly. As he reached the end, his eyes narrowed. I see. I was not aware that the King of Rizia took me for a simpleton. Apologies, Mr. President, I cannot promise you more than this. I doubt that's true, Your Majesty. You're attempting to stick poor Wachlan in an unfair treaty. It's equal! It's equal! You're content to watch us suffer alone in our fight against the Bluish Freedom Front. To me, your unwillingness to cooperate shows you that you cannot be There's still fun to find some common ground. Not signed theatrically and raise his hands. You bastard. So we cannot be equal. We have to give more. This okay, we can avoid giving the We can avoid giving the, taking the wood carvings. Oh my god, this is gonna be a long one. Okay, to hell, what has never been delicate. Man, we're gonna go through a lot. That's true, we are a monarchy and kind of you would have a majority. But only we have been trading. Going up position. Can you two wait outside? Okay, this one here, I feel like you didn't overstep your bounds. I found your candle refreshing and I still do. He blushed. Thank you. But people talk. A pragmatic, beautiful, noble woman. I should have married you ages ago. Thanks to my father's partnership, I can take the queen. Thank you, Duchess Cesaro. No time for explaining. Let's get to the meeting. Nodded. He didn't speak another word as Titus escorted us. I wish I could say the same. I can't control. With all due respect, we are. Being a king comes with challenges. Here maybe we can say. Yeah, I think like here, I want to say neither of us on occasion agreed to spread across Merkopa. Interesting, Your Majesty. I always thought you monarchy preferred to stay out of superpower fray. As a matter of fact, doesn't Gray's organization claim neutrality in the Great War of Idea between Acacia and United Consana? But your words at the AN indicate otherwise. A king supporting his eastward-leaning neighbors, who would have thought? You're correct, Mr. President. As a member of Grace, our kingdom does not officially support or oppose any superpower. But His Majesty does speak out against injustice when he sees it. The meeting room should be ready by now. Should we proceed? What about reason? Okay, this one. Whatever you believe in, Rumble has make special efforts. And if this friendship helps Wackland bypass certain trade tensions, so much the better. In this friendship, bypass. Military. Okay, we're gonna ask about everything. Interesting offer. May be prudent. What are your concerns? Nonsense, Mr. President. Our mining output is as robust as ever been. As the owner of the nearly half of Rizia's normal mining company, you just ask what are your concerns. I never heard of West at wood carvings. So you're trying to drag Rizia down to Melon's level. I have come. Do not besmirch the honor of Her Excellency Queen Beatrice. There's no honor among criminals, Your Majesty. Yeah, that applies to you as well, Smolak. President Smolak, I'm aware that BFF has not gone completely inactive. Oh, don't repeat. I can't ban people from entering my country. Unless what? Proactive? This is your battle to fight. Hmm. Okay. Do not doubt. Okay. Let's get to work. Okay, here. We're not asking anything from them, okay? We're gonna give them extra. Do not implement ban. Grand Wexac. Look at that. We're actually giving quite a lot. Let's see if this works. He definitely won't take, like, you know, equal. But we do give him a bit of a surplus here. Maybe 2? Let's see what he says. Okay, this is the same. We can definitely work with this, Your Majesty. I have to say, I was not expecting such generosity from you. Oh, good. At least, like, we don't need to give him extra, you know, budget per turn. I would not dare to double cross on him. I know what Wetland is capable of. I offered what I felt was right. I had no idea you would have been so happy with less. Ooh, don't say that. Probably a symbol of my greater intentions. I too wish for our country to resume our former partnership. We will resume it, Your Majesty. Together, we will be stronger than ever before. You're right. Lorenzo quickly paged through the treaty document again. Considering our country's respective situation, we have indeed promised you quite a lot. I hope you will remember our kingdom's generosity in future dealings. I will, Mr. Escabel, but I first need to see actions, not just words. I wish I had time to celebrate, but Rocklowitz awaits. The next time you visit us, we will smoke Kisha together. No. You discover what you're missing out. I'll leave the smoking to my mother, but I do look forward to meeting for our next meeting. Tell the Queen Mother to join us the next time. You won't. Lorenzo rose from his seat. An 8 will show you out while we finish in here, Mr. Smolak. Thanks again for your time. No, thank you, Mr. Escabel, and of course, King Romus. Shake his hand. I shook up and extended his hand. He clasped it in both of his and shook it vigorously. Until next time, Your Majesty. We accompanied Smolak to the door of the suite. He bowed one last time as an 8 ushered him down the hall towards the exit. Lorenzo and I looked at each other for a long couple of moments. We have quite the task before us, don't we? But I'm confident we will rise to the challenge. The bastard has us right where he wants us, but I see no other choice. We made out fairly well considering the circumstances. Lorenzo gathered up the documents that were scattered across the table. Together, we left the suite. Okay, I think that's it for today. Okay, like from now on, I think that instead of like starting at like 7:30, I'll start at 8 p.m. Okay, that way like I do have 8 p.m. stream on Saturday and Sunday, so it's just nice for both of it. Okay, yeah. So that's all for today. Tomorrow we're gonna pick it up again. Actually, today I was not supposed to stream, but yesterday I was busy. Okay, this is to make up for yesterday. I wonder if I can finish it by today, by this week though. Wait, let me check. Let me check. How many turns do we have? Kingdom of Rizia. Let me see. Kingdom of Rizia. How many turns? How many turns? How many turns are there? Turn 8, so don't worry. Okay, so we're not even half. We're actually like at the beginning of 5. So maybe we have reached the half point. Maybe. Well, at the very least, we're at 40%, I think. Let me see. What as big as the main game? There are more than 4. I'm on 6. Uh oh, 10 turn. Okay, there's 10 turns, okay? So we're halfway there. A bit of halfway there. Okay. I'm quite happy with what we're doing now. But before that, let me just check something. GDP ranking 19th. Care. GDP 10th. Monkeys 3rd. You know, we did make like a dam in Zapana and a factory in Ita. Like, I think they're gonna be posting it. I think this is gonna be like our biggest it's gonna improve our GDP, I think, this, okay? But as for now, I think we'll leave it for tomorrow. I do hope that is enough to, like, you know, please him. Okay? Zero resistance funding. Oh. Okay, we leave it for tomorrow. We leave it for tomorrow, okay? So yeah. Tomorrow we'll see if we did manage to make a deal with Smolak. But from the looks of it, we did give a lot to him. Well, it's not a lot. A decent amount. We did give him some wine and some small arms, but I hope there'll be enough for us to, like, we can forget everything about that. But something tells me that he's gonna, like, ask for more later on. Okay? And for now, like, we should focus a bit on like improving our country, okay? In terms of, like, we're gonna spend money on infrastructure, okay? But that is, like, not our top priority. Our priority is right now is, like, health and education. And then we're gonna have to, like, monkey sport, okay? So those two are our priority right now, okay? So for now, that's all for today. Tomorrow we'll pick it up, okay? So see you guys tomorrow. Bye bye.